Today I thought I would talk about the treatments that I've found helpful. So this covers the last year. I was diagnosed with ME last November, and then I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in the February. So since then I've done research and talked to different people, different services, and found some treatments that I've carried on that have been really helpful. So I'll tell you what I do, what I found helpful, and what I found it to help with. I'll just kind of summarise each one, and then if there is one that you kind of want to know more about, feel free to message me or comment, and then I can either do a video about that specific treatment, or I can just message you back and answer your questions. So the first thing that I kind of got referred to was an ME specialist. So that was really helpful to teach me about ME, to teach me what I'd been diagnosed with, what that meant. And we kind of met up, I think about once a month at the beginning, to just talk about how I was feeling, what different things had changed, what things I was still struggling with, what kind of things I wanted to know more about. And that was really helpful. There was also an opportunity for me to go to a group where there was other people, and that was like a seminar. But sadly at the time, my ME was at the point where I couldn't concentrate for that long. So it was interesting. I got to stay for about the first half an hour, and I got to hear other people and their symptoms, how it affected their lives. And it's just interesting to kind of, I guess, and helpful to feel like, oh, I'm not the only person who has this, or oh, I'm not the only person who struggles with this. Like a really random thing was that I was really struggling to put deodorant on because the glands under my arms were so sore and so tender. And just to hear another girl in the room say, oh, I really struggle with putting deodorant on because my glands are so sore, it was just really nice to be like, oh, me too, like I'm not weird, I'm not a freak kind of thing. This is actually, and also like, oh, it's not in my head, you know, this is actually part of the illness. So that was really interesting. And then I've carried on seeing my ME specialist probably like once every 3 months now, because we've just built up things that I do during that time, and it's just cool to reconnect. And it's also helpful because you see that you have progressed. When you see someone just once every 3 months, you can say, oh, actually, like, I was really, really struggling with this then, and now actually that's a bit better. And you might have something different that you're struggling with, but it's really helpful and encouraging to see the progressions that you have made. So that's the ME specialist. And the next thing was I had an occupational therapist. So she came over to my house and she helped make life a bit easier. So we have steps coming up to our front door. So she didn't, but they organised people to come over and had a rail put up there, so it just makes it easier to get up and down those stairs. I have a frame that goes around our toilet to help me be able to kind of stand up and sit down without falling over or without taking too much energy. And I have a board that goes across my bath so that I can sit down in the shower rather than having to stand up. And it also gives me a place to sit when I clean my teeth, because now I can. Most days I can stand up long enough to clean my teeth, but at the beginning I couldn't, so that was really helpful to have somewhere to sit down to be able to clean my teeth and anything else I was doing in the bathroom at the time. So she was really helpful. She also sorted out a wheelchair for me. My legs are very temperamental. Sometimes, well, they hurt all the time, but strength-wise, they're temperamental. So sometimes I can walk around quite easily, but sometimes I can hardly walk. So having a wheelchair was just really helpful, so that it didn't, my leg strength didn't kind of weigh into my plans as much. Obviously, my arms aren't strong enough to push my own wheelchair, so I have to have Will or my parents or a friend, so that weighs in. But it was just nice to know, like, oh, we can go down to the sea, we can go for a walk or a roll along the sea, and I don't have to worry about how far we go and whether I'll be able to go back, and whether they're going to hurt the next day even more, that kind of thing. And yeah, it just made things a bit easier. It just meant that we could do a bit more without having to weigh in how my legs were that day. So that was really helpful. I don't think she did anything else. No, I think that was it. And then I started oxygen treatment. So that is at the MS Centre in Exeter. And this is amazing. Now, the NHS used to do oxygen treatment and then they stopped for some reason. But at this centre where I go to, there are all sorts of people receiving oxygen treatment. So some people have short-term illnesses, they have like chest problems or an injury, a short-term injury, or a broken bone or a sprain, and the oxygen just helps to heal it quicker and heal it properly. Some people have things like kidney problems, some people have back pain, some people have autism, because the oxygen helps with the mental capacity of your brain. Some people have MS, some people have ME, and I'm sure there's other people as well that I haven't met yet. There are a lot of people who go there, and basically what it is you sit in like a big metal tank that looks kind of like a submarine, I guess, and you fix up oxygen mask, so you have the oxygen coming in and then you breathe out the carbon dioxide down the other pipe, and they, using very clever machines, take the pressure inside the tank down, so you can either go down 5 metres, 7.5 metres or 10 metres, and you don't actually go down, but the pressure goes down, and then you breathe in the oxygen, and it actually makes it harder to breathe in the oxygen, which means that your body tries harder, so you take on more, if that makes sense. So I started doing that probably around March time, and at this point my mental capacity wasn't great, so sometimes I couldn't get the words out that I wanted to say. Sometimes my mind would just go blank mid-sentence. Sometimes I would say the wrong words, which is kind of funny, and then kind of really scary as well. So poor Will, my husband, sometimes I would say it and we'd both laugh. Sometimes I would say something wrong and he'd laugh and I'd burst into tears. So that was really hard, and that massively increased my social anxiety, because I never knew whether my brain was going to catch up and whether it was going to be awkward. And yeah, there were a few times when it was really awkward. So yeah, social anxiety was really hard when my brain wasn't working properly. So the oxygen helped massively with that, and as you can see now I can talk to you fine. Sometimes on a really bad day my mind will go blank, and things like concentration are still really hard, and if I have to really think about something, it takes me a while to get out what I'm trying to say, which is often probably why these videos are a bit rambly, because if I keep going then it's fine. If I stop and think about it, then my brain is a bit slower. So yeah, so that was the oxygen, and at first I had that 3 times a week for 15 sessions, and then I went down to twice a week, and now I'm down to once a week. And I can see a massive difference in the fatigue, in the mental side of things, and probably in the pain as well throughout my body. It's just really helpful, and also emotionally it's been really helpful, because it's such a comfortable place to be, and everyone understands what it's like to be in your position. So obviously some people, like I said, they have just have broken bones, not just, that's awful, but it's not a long-term chronic illness. But the staff they get to know you and they understand what you're going through, and it's just like the simple things, like if you walk in and you're looking particularly rough that day because you're really tired, they don't say, "Oh, you look really tired today, you okay?" Which is what people say when they don't understand that you're always tired. So the staff instead say, like, "Oh, has it been a hard week, or has it been a hard day?" Or, and it's just a lot more understanding, which helps you feel understood and comfortable. So that has been a massive help to me, and I think a great support for Will and my parents as well, to know that I've got people around me who understand, and they can kind of drop me off and know that I'm fine and I'm being looked after by the best possible people. So that's been really helpful. Diet, obviously I did a whole video on this last time, so I won't go into it too much, but yeah, learning what foods to eat and what foods to avoid has been a massive, massive change in my pain, in my fatigue, in my sleep pattern, everything. Massage therapy, that's another one that I found really useful, but that is very personalised. So at first I had a full body massage, and it was awful and I was in so much pain, and I learned through talking to the ME specialist that that's because when your body is massaged you release something called lymphatic acid, and if your body releases a lot of that, it can make you feel really fatigued and run down. And so someone who has a lot of lymphatic acid due to a chronic illness, I'm not sure how scientific this is, by the way, don't quote me on this, but this is what different people have said and what I understand, how I understand it to work. Basically my body can't withstand what a full body massage would do, so I just have a back massage, and I'm actually having my first leg massage on Friday, because my legs, they're the worst thing for me, I think. They are the thing that always hurt, they're always weak, and yeah, they're not very helpful to me. So I'm starting to have a leg massage, which I know will be really painful. My back one was really painful when I first started, but now it's a lot better, and it genuinely helps the pain that I receive down my spine and all around my neck and shoulders. So I'm hoping that even if the leg massage is painful at the beginning, that it might hopefully ease the pain as the weeks go on. You may be wondering why it's taken me so long to start getting my legs massaged, and that is genuinely because I was scared because they're that painful and I didn't want anyone to touch them. But I've really built up a trust with my massage therapist. She really understands, and I really feel like I can be honest and say, actually that really hurts, actually it doesn't, which for me at the beginning was really hard. So yeah, to kind of have built up that trust, and I guess I'm fed up of my legs being like the last thing that I don't feel I can help. So I guess I should let you know on Friday how, in my next video, how painful Friday was, but we shall see, and it's something that I'm hoping with time, like my back, will be beneficial to me. Okay, we've got 3 left. CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, I had that over the summer holiday. That was with the Depression and Anxiety Service, and that was to help me learn about my depression, which happens when you have a chronic illness, because life is really hard. And it's a brain thing as well. It's not just to do with circumstances, it's actually a drop in serotonin in your brain levels, which is why when people say things like, oh yeah, but look how nice your life is, or yeah, but you've been on a really nice holiday, or things like that, not to me, but people don't understand that depression isn't actually circumstance. It's not based on circumstances. Obviously circumstances don't help, having a chronic illness doesn't help, but it's actually part of the illness to have that depression and to have that anxiety. So I had 6 weeks probably of cognitive behavioural therapy, and it's really, really helpful. It's a very personal thing, so there's not really much point in me telling you about my journey with it, other than to say make sure you really get on with, and the therapist understands you and you feel like really comfortable with them, because it just puts you in a better place for them to help you and you to help yourself. But I would really recommend it. It was really helpful for me. Also lately I've started seeing a counsellor, so the CBT finished, and I didn't feel like I needed I suppose psychological help anymore, but with the illness continuing, just needed someone to talk to. And my husband is great, but I don't want to pile everything onto him, and so having that person outside of the situation that person who I can say, you know, I have a really bad day, I have a really bad week, and I know that they're not going to get emotionally hurt, because I can talk to my parents, and I do, but then you see actually, oh, that really hurts them, that or really upsets them that I'm going through that. So to have that outside person to talk things through is really, really helpful. So I see a counsellor, probably now it's probably once a month, but before it was once a week. So that has been really helpful. So I would recommend finding a counsellor. It's really interesting, and I think watching American films, quite a few people are like, oh yeah, go and see my therapist, and it's quite a normal thing. And then in England it's not, and not that many people say, oh, I'm going to go see my therapist kind of thing. But I don't see why not. It's really helpful, like even if you don't have a chronic illness, even if you don't have anything going on, just to have that outside person to just kind of spill to, I guess, is really helpful. So having a chronic illness, having chronic fatigue, and everything that goes with it. We're in the first year of marriage, so yeah, like there's a lot that's been happening. So having someone to kind of offload on, and help you gain perspective has been really helpful. And the final one is a new one, which I haven't started yet, but I've self-referred myself, due to the advice of my ME specialist and my GP, referred to a Pilates class, but it's done through Vlog2-Fibro in Torquay, which is where I live. So they are a physiotherapist organisation, company I guess. But yeah, they also do Pilates classes. So I went with them because I wanted to make sure that the person that was going to be leading me in Pilates would have a medical understanding of where my body was at, to make sure that I don't feel the pressure of a normal class to kind of do all the stretches and hold them for as long and things like that, because my body just won't be able to do that. But my ME specialist really feels that it will be helpful, might help with the leg pain, and it will just get me moving a bit more, without having to worry about the fatigue levels being very high, or without having to worry about hurting myself or straining myself. So that is in the process. We're waiting for that one, so I'll again let you know how that one goes. But I'm really excited. I'm excited to have something new to try, and see whether it helps. So they have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that I have found really helpful, and that I've continued over the year and seen a real benefit from, all of them kind of weighing in together. So yeah, if you want any more information about any of the specific treatments, then drop me a message, write a comment, something like that, and I'll get back to you. But I hope that's been helpful.